the exam. Then the doctor has to say it's medically necessary for you to have these glasses, and then it gets approved. So Medicaid will give you general categories, but most times they give you to at the code level. So it's almost impossible to be able to figure out everything that's covered. But if you go to the Medicaid websites, they'll typically refer you to what they call the provider manual, and that will have a list of the covered services. You might be able to find some categories where it'll just say like inpatient stays, but it won't tell you
specifically
everything.
I was wondering, like the transportation, because that's a big thing.
Yeah, every state covers transportation. The big thing is they don't cover trips to the pharmacy. So if you're at home and you need to go to the doctor, if you don't need to go to the doctor, you just need your drugs picked up from the pharmacy, the state won't take you. If you go to the doctor, so I'll pick on you. If I'm going to see her at the doctor's office and she gives me a prescription, I need to get it on the way home, they'll stop and they'll let you pick it up, but they won't pick you up and just take you to the corner pharmacy, right? It's got to be after a doctor's visit. So one of the things that we're working on as a plan is to be able to cover trips just to the pharmacies that we're able to plug in. We don't do that next year, but it's something we're trying to do in the future, is to be able to say, okay, we'll have you to get trips. Or we're looking into a company that's going to bring drugs to your house. Right?
So the transportation in here is just for hospital
doctor's visits, but you also can go to the pharmacy on the way home, similar to Medicaid. We'll take you to the pharmacy as long as it's on the way home from a doctor's visit.
Dentist, vision, okay.
We're adding that. Let me double check. We literally had a discussion on it like 6 weeks ago. I don't remember if we added it for 17, if it's going to be for 18, but we're talking about plan approved locations, which would include supplemental benefits. But
okay. Yeah, so
I need to get that
answer. Okay. Yeah. And transportation, just to add on to what he was saying, so if they do need to, they know they need to go to the pharmacy, before or after the doctor's visit, as long as they just tell their transportation vendor ahead of time, they can add that on. It'll be included in that trip. So if they plan it, they can utilize it that way.
So it's considered one trip.
It is, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So
not multiple.
No,
correct.
it's one trip.
Not multiple trips.
right, you will have
have
back and
one
forth.
day.
Right, that's 2 trips.
Yeah.
But the
The
pharmacy is a courtesy that they add in as a benefit for us to be able to just go to the pharmacy. So if you need to go before or even after, if they write a prescription, just tell them once, oh, the doctor wrote me a prescription, it's going to be ready in 20 minutes. They'll sit there and wait, as long as it's not, oh, it'll be ready in 2 hours, right? But they'll typically take you, no problem. Just got to let them know.
So is the benefit in here 24, is it like round trip? So I go to the doctor and come back, or?
So it's essentially 12 round trips, so you think about one a month. Because you typically will find them in multiples of 12. So 12, 24, 36, 48. Sometimes you'll see 40, but typically they're in multiples of 12 because of the back and forth, so it ends up being 6 trips.
So does that transportation vendor have to have a Medicaid contract?
No, we pay 100% of the claim.
Okay.
So because it's a supplemental benefit, it's not filed with any co-insurance, so there's no Medicaid component to that at all.
So do they just submit a receipt?
No, the vendor bills us directly.
Oh, the vendor
The
does.
the member doesn't have to lay anything out of pocket. They call the vendor through a phone number. There's 2 ways. They call the vendor directly because it's on their card, or they can call our customer service and we'll set the appointment up for them or connect them with the vendor. But yeah, it's invisible. So if anyone ever says, "Oh, my driver asked for $5," like we need to know about that. But it should be completely seamless to the member. They should just get dropped up and picked off, like Uber, right? You should never have to give them anything. It should just go directly
Okay,
to.
so we have like a major transportation vendor here in Hamilton County Express.
Right.
And so does the client need to check with them to see how it's going to be billed, or
Nope.
do they not have to worry about
So
it?
they just call the vendor or call customer service, we'll set the trip up. They should never see anything from a bill. The vendor we work with is, I'm assuming he's going to be in any other logistic here. So they have locally contracted folks. It could be they're contracted with them. So you don't know who will pick you up. It's just their network of drivers. But the member should never see a bill, be asked for money. They don't have to present their ID, other than just confirming that they're the right person that this person is picking up. There should never be any sort of interaction about I need to see an ID or money or any of that stuff.
But they have to use that approved vendor. Like you can't
Correct.
just call
That is
them,
correct.
Correct.
yellow
Because
cab and say, take me.
and a great thing as well is once they've exhausted the Medicare benefit, let's say it's 40 trips or 12 trips, whatever it is, once it's done, they can then still call their Medicaid agency to get Medicaid arranged transportation, right? Most of them should be able to call, members of our plan should still be able to call the state and say, I need to go to X doctor and get transportation as well. It might be from a different vendor. In some states, Logisticare is the state's Medicaid vendor, so it's even more seamless for the member. But once the Medicare is exhausted, we still encourage folks, and that's why it's helpful for you guys. Okay, once you finish this is the number you call, and you'll still be able to get picked up and taken to your doctor's visit. It's not like they can't get anywhere after the Medicare benefit is exhausted.
So agents who are out there in the field regarding all these different services, if I go back here, the supplemental benefits, and Carmen, I've come to you several occasions on how are agents to instruct their clients about how to access these supplemental services when you've got network considerations.
Sure.
What should the agent be saying?
So, we provide numbers to the vision, dental, all the vendors are on the back of the ID cards. I would
You do?
refer them to that. You have the sample, and I would say, look, there's a number on the back of your ID card. You need transportation, you need dental services. They'll tell you the doctors. It's also in the directory, the printed and the online directory, what doctors or providers are in the network for dental, vision, hearing, so they can utilize those services. But customer service is your friend. If there's questions and they have issues, you can call our customer service department. Like, that's what they're there for. I'm sure they're gonna be mad at me for saying that, but that's what they're there for, right? Is to take these calls and help lead the member down the right path, because we don't want them getting confused. We don't want them, not able to get the care that they need when they need it. And so, call customer service. But again, the numbers are on the back. Those vendors are there to help. And then once you've exhausted, again, I always go back to present your Medicare card, because that's the benefit if you're going to use it first. If you need Medicaid services above and beyond what Medicare covers, make sure we find that Medicaid provider that's going to be able to assist you with those things. That's one of the other things we hear a lot about. I went and got dentures. The Medicare benefit doesn't cover dentures, it only covers like the extractions or the fillings. Okay, well, present your Medicaid card and they'll be able to either service you there directly or provide you with a provider that does those services so you can access those. Because a lot of members forget that, right? They think, oh, I have Medicare now, and they don't remember that they still have all these other services that are available to them. And that's why I always say, have your card, don't throw it away, present it as often as possible, because sometimes the providers will be able to assist you and say, okay, we don't take Medicaid, but we know that you can go to this physician and really, or dentist, and they're able to do the services that you need and bill appropriately for it. Did you have a question, Charlie?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry, I thought I saw your hand.
We need to make sure they have the correct level of Medicaid so that we don't cause them a copay, am I correct?
So they would not be enrolled if they didn't have if they weren't.
Just won't, okay.
So there's a phone number here,
Oh,
and
good.
I can't talk about it just yet, but I've been working very hard over the last couple of months to improve this process. So I have something that I'm hoping to be rolled out in the early part of next year. I don't want to get you guys too excited about it, but it's going to be a really significant change and improvement for us. But there's folks that are on the other end of that phone call or the email address that will help you verify someone's eligibility prior to them enrolling. I encourage you to call it.
So not just gonna say they're on Medicaid, they're gonna
Tell
us
you
whether or
what
not.
specific level that they
And
have,
that-
so that
that's
you know
important.
that's the
It's
right
in your
plan
deck
for them.
too.
Okay, that's important. Okay.
Right?
You've got that in your deck too, guys. I know you're writing it down, but you've got a page that gives you that information.
Yeah, it's right up here on the screen, and that's really important, because you'll have folks, like I said, I don't have my award letter, what level do I have?
Right.
What do I get?
Well, they won't know.
I don't know, they don't have family potentially to help them guide these stuff, they don't know what they did with something.
You know,
This is a great way to say, oh, okay, Mrs. Jones, you're, QI, you don't really qualify for this plan,
Okay.
there's another product we can talk to you about, this is your premium HMO perhaps. Or you do qualify for it, so you can call, validate that over the phone, and then when the application comes in, we go ahead and process that application.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have to verify that before you do an application?
No,
I'm
I would say
looking
yes,
at
so yes
somebody's
and no.
card.
So, no, you don't need to. Yes, I encourage you to do it.
Yeah.
Because
No, I
that's
agree with
happening
that,
is-
yeah.
Because if you don't, and the member doesn't qualify, now you have to go back out and write them and well, you told me this plan and I don't qualify for this plan, I got a denial letter in the mail or an RFI, which is request for information.
Right.
So then you have to go back out and rewrite them, right? So it's just more time out of your schedule, so.
If you give the Medicare number, though, they'll tell you whether that is a,
Medicaid.
Medicaid number to somebody to do
Correct.
that. Okay.
Correct, yeah, there's certain information we need, so I can't guarantee we're able to do it if you don't have all the pieces we need, but if you have the pieces, we can tell you whether someone qualifies or not, because we have access to every Medicaid system to look.
And
those
your
credentials up.
application will show those pieces that are needed.
Yes,
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
One last, on this chart we were looking at earlier, so if it has a yes here, does that mean that's what they
Acceptable.
need for Anthem?
yep, for that product, so that, and it's not by plan, so you could have Plan 1 in Indianapolis and Plan 3 down in the southern part of the state. It's universal to the state, it doesn't vary by plan for us, so that's why you just have whatever the state is in the contract number. It should be
Okay.
universal
Okay.
by DSNP plan that we have in the state.
Okay, I've got another follow.
Yeah.
In your handouts, you'll see something that I say is, this is going to be directed to you. You'll see a handout where I talk about full benefit dual eligibles. And that's what these plans are designed for, are those FBDEs. Now, going back a long way, I always said that an FBDE was someone who had a drug copay of $1.20 for their generics and $3.20, I think, for their brand names.
It's over
How-
$4 now, but yeah.
How often has it happened that that was inaccurate information? That you look at that card, they say 1 and 4, whatever it is,
Right.
and then you make this call and they say, no, they don't qualify.
So more than you might think. So this is what I was sort of getting at earlier, right? So full benefit dual eligibles is a category. Full benefit duals is full benefit dual eligibles, Quimby plus, Slimby plus, right? So there's, the nomenclature gets confusing because you could say, oh, I'm a full dual. Doesn't mean you're a full benefit dual eligible. A category means you have full Medicare and full Medicaid, right? So it gets a little bit confusing. And here's a general rule of thumb. If you have LIS,
Yeah,
right, doesn't necessarily mean you have Medicaid,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
If you have Medicaid, 100%, 1,000%, million%, you have LIS.
Absolutely.
Medicaid equals LIS. LIS is not equal Medicaid. So when I was at a previous company, we had a low-income Part D plan. So I looked at about 36,000 members of our low-income Part D plan in one state and said, how many of these folks would qualify for one of our DSNP products, right? So they had to be either a full dual or Quimby. Out of the 36,000, we had around 80-something hundred. So again, it's a lot less than you would think because most of those folks will get federal social health and Social Security. It's not a Medicaid benefit, right? So I would say roughly, give or take the state, it could be anywhere from like 30% to 35% of the folks that have LIS would be at some level of dual that qualifies. Now they may be a partial dual, but we're only talking about full duals that would qualify for a DSNP plan.
Right, and that goes to, correct me if I'm wrong here, this goes to the federal-state interaction that you'll have files, right, from the federal side that will define LIS qualifications, right, but the state files may not exactly equal the same information, correct?
Correct, because you may not have, like I said, there's 5 or 6 different eligibility categories, but only 4, right, qualify for our plans. In most states, some of them it's 3. And so again, you could have LIS and you could be a Medicaid eligible, but you're not the right level, right? You could be QDWI or QI. So you still have a low income subsidy of 100% or 75%. So you're paying those $2 copays, but you're not right for this product, right? So it's not a 1-for-1 match. It's more like 30% or so that have LIS that would qualify for this product because they have Medicaid. Does that make sense?
But out of the whole population, not to get it too
Yeah.
confused, out of the whole population, we're looking 90% of the people that are full benefit dual eligibles, right? 85?
Out of the LIS?
No, not
okay.
LIS.
Yeah.
Out of
No, it depends. I would say 70%.
70%.
It's like, so for example, the state of Connecticut is like unlike any state in the union, 70% of their duals are Quimby only. They're not full duals. 70% of the entire state's eligibles are Quimby only, not full duals. So it's just it's a quirky state. Typically, Quimby is the most popular category because you're just meeting the federal requirements of 133 and the state requirements maybe 85% of the FPL or 100%. So Quimby is the most popular, around 30, and then the full duals, if you lump them together, would be obviously overwhelming, like 70%. But if you broke it out by category, Quimby would be the
well,
highest
you see
category.
where I'm going here.
Yeah.
An agent, say we do a mailing, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to select an income level for that mailing. What are the chances that we're actually mailing to the desired population?
Yeah, pretty good. I would say pretty good, depending on what level of income you put, right? And you say, if at less than 20,000, you probably 100%, almost 100%.
Okay.
I mean, you could run into folks that, like I talked about, should be on Medicaid, but just never fill out the application, right? So, but if, anything less than 20 grand, you're probably guaranteed to find the majority, like 90%, like you said.
Okay.
Because again, states and feds calculate assets differently and income differently, which is another part, right? Feds, I think, don't include your home. States do include your home. So there's little quirks that make up the differences between the programs. So any other questions? I want this to be interactive. I know you guys had a bunch of them. I probably did overwhelm you with information. I can do that at times. I apologize if I did. But you always, Carmen's here, Edgar's is a great resource. If you have questions, they'll find their way to me, I'm assuming. So again, I thank you for your time. If there's any other questions, I'm here for a little while longer. But if there's not, I sincerely thank you for your time and attention. So.
All right, I think we've got everybody rolled back in. Oh, here comes one. And there's a few people that came in late. We had some giveaway items. I want everybody to make sure they got one of these. So I think you two gentlemen that came in late, it's a little battery pack. If anybody else is in line, let me know. My name is Carmen Romack, and I am a Medicare National Sales Manager with Anthem. Oh, you didn't get one either? Okay, ladies, you can come up here and get them.
Do you have?
He needs
Yeah,
one.
go ahead, thank you.
Just one of these?
No, giveaways.
Oh.
The good stuff. I have been with Anthem for a really long time, about 14 years, but have been in the Medicare, this market space, for about 3.5 years. I am the account manager for Benefit Plans of America. I actually am a Hoosier. I live here in Indiana. I live in Hamilton County. So I'm right here down the road. So that's a little bit of my background. What I'm going to do today is focus on 3 states in particular, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. In your package, I gave you a lot of information for other states. I get the sense that most of you are from that area, right? Are most of you marketing in those 3 states? Is there anybody marketing in a state outside of those 3? Florida.
Yeah, so I told him we would connect him and I would talk to
It
him.
didn't include those slides. That's a little bit of a unique market, so okay, good.
Yeah, we probably couldn't anyway. So.
No.
Kentucky.
Kentucky we're going to cover. So I think we're good. So you've got more information there. Use it, throw it away, what have you, but we're going to focus on those 3 states. One thing that I am obligated to do is to give you this confidentiality reminder. Just be aware that the information we're sharing has not officially been approved by CMS yet. It's feeling very likely, I feel very comfortable that it will be, but it's for your edification, for your ability to start planning out, your strategy for AEP. Just a reminder that you really can't share benefits with members until that opens up October 1st. So, you can go through.
Do you need my help?
No, I'm good.
You're good?
I'm good, thank you. So, and with that, we'll go ahead and get started. I think they all gave you a map anyway of Indiana, but I've included it in your package. What this shows you, are you heading out?
I am, unless you need me to hang.
Yeah, you can go.
Sure, I don't mind hanging out for a few more.
That's all right, thank you for coming.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg. All right, so for the state of Indiana, you'll see here the color coordination. It's a little hard to see up here, but on your map, I hope you can see the colors better. Where you see the different greens, yellows, it'll show you where we have different plans. This is for 2017 too, so this is what we're expecting to be in play for next year with opening of AEP. Now, tomorrow I'm going to be at the sessions tomorrow, I'll talk about more of the plans, HMO, PPO, etc. Today I'm focused on DSNP because that's what we're talking about here. So where you see the blue outline, you're going to see that we're expanding. We're expanding into 22 additional counties in the state of Indiana for our DSNP and our HMO plans in 2017. So what Greg had talked about earlier, that we've made an investment in this market, you can see that by the fact that we're expanding. We're not going at full bore. We kind of moved in a little bit, get ourselves organized, make sure we know what we're doing, and then we're going to expand most likely every year. And so what I can tell you is there's another map. You were talking about like where, to kind of market, etc., the eligibles. Just because I'm from Indiana as well, I know that Allen County up here in the region, those are hot markets. This is hot market. And Marion County, in the surrounding areas, those are really hot markets. This area down here is a growth opportunity as well. So that's where we're moving to for next year. So if you're marketing, you've got a lot of opportunity. This is our mandatory supplemental benefit sheet, and this is where we differentiate ourselves from the competition. So this is all the extras that are included in the plan. I think, mandatory supplemental benefits are benefits that are actually embedded in the plan, so the members don't pay extra for it. So when they sign up for the Anthem Dual SNP product within Indiana, with that they get 2 dental cleanings per year. I'm not going to read everything to you, but what I'm going to tell you is some of the big hitter items that you're going to want to focus on as an agent that will make a difference. Comprehensive dental, $800 per year. So what that means, right down here we've got a little thing here, $200 per quarter. So if they stay on the plan, that, let's say they sign up in January and they stay on our plan, they accumulate $200 every quarter. So let's say that they know they want to do a root canal later in the year. If they stay on the plan and they, accumulate that money, it rolls over quarter to quarter. So come November, December, they've got now $800 to apply towards comprehensive dental services. Now, that doesn't roll over to the next year, so you want to make sure to remind them, you use your benefits in the year that you have them, but you have the flexibility to move into other quarters.
So they can use that $200 for any dental service?
Is that
You ever
an
had-
add-on for this year? That wasn't.
We've had comprehensive dental, but we have increased.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and let me step back a minute and just kind of, set the tone. Overall, for those 3 states, some of the improvements that we've made to the plans, across the board, we've added podiatry services at $0 cost, 6 visits. That's for Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. We've added, and this is a big one, band roll here, $3,000 towards hearing aids.
It's huge.
Wow.
It's huge. They can get 2 now. They can hear out of both ears. So, that's a really big deal. And those are the kind of things that, if you walk away with, understanding that, they have to have all the cards and you call Medicaid eligibility and you understand these differentiating benefits, I think you're going to be well positioned to kind of make sure you're fitting the need for your members. So that's a big one. Silver sneakers. That is being added to all of our plans across the state. And I actually mean beyond DSNP. So all of our plans in those 3 states are going to have the podiatry, the hearing aid, and silver sneakers for 2017. Okay? So getting back to hearing, you've got it right there, 3,000. Over the counter, I think the lady over here had asked that question. So in 2017, there's going to be $45 per quarter for over-the-counter drugs. Indiana is one of those states, it's a catalog, so they'll get their catalog when they enroll, and they can order every 3 months. They can either do it through an order form that they get, they can call, they can fax, there's different options for doing that. When they place the order and they receive it at their home, they'll get a new form to place for the next one. Same thing, as with the comprehensive dental, they don't have to use the $45 every quarter. They can save it and they can accumulate more dollars. But the key again is use your benefit in the calendar year, because if you don't use it, you lose it. Okay? Transportation, I know Greg talked about that, but we offer 24 trips in Indiana, and again, a trip to the doctor and back home again is considered 2 trips. So just, know that. To reiterate that you can have them stop at the pharmacy to pick up drugs.